Welcome back. You made it a full week, day 7, and we are going to talk about spiritual self-care. So let's get started. I'm so excited. We've made it a whole week. It's been so amazing seeing all of your amazing comments and just the amazing experience and all the feedback that I've received so far. I'm just so excited for you guys to be on this journey. So today in day 7, we're going to talk about spiritual self-care. And spirituality, there's so many layers to this. And I could literally have a whole YouTube channel just on this topic alone. So anything I share, it's not going to dive deep enough or give it enough justice that it deserves. So when we're talking about spirituality, really we're talking about our connection to our purpose and our purpose on earth, here in this present moment today. Whenever you're watching this, whether it's in 2021, 2022, whatever your experience is. So what your purpose is, and then where the spirituality component comes is what allows you to nurture your purpose. And so some people connect to God, higher power, universe. Some people are religious. And so asking yourself, what helps you nurture your purpose? So you might be asking, Alyssa, I don't even know what my purpose is. And that's where spiritual self-care kicks in. So spiritual self-care is all about finding your purpose and then nurturing your purpose every single day. So your purpose might be to be a mom or a dad or a caregiver or an entrepreneur or a helper, or just to be a kind person that takes it one day at a time. So as you ask yourself what your purpose is, then you ask yourself, how can I connect to something that's going to help me grow in my purpose? And maybe you don't connect to a God or a universe or higher power, but then that's where you can connect to your higher self and asking your higher self for guidance on this journey. And so spirituality is all about our beliefs and values. And are you living a life that's consistent with your beliefs and values? Or are you living a life that is inconsistent with your beliefs and values? So if your purpose is to be a kind, caring person, but on the weekends you're lying, cheating, and stealing, right? There's a whole disconnect. You are not in alignment with what you believe your purpose is. And another part of spiritual self-care is finding out what your purpose is. We're not just one layered humans. We can have multifaceted connections. We can have more than one purpose. So if you are a mom, maybe you don't want that to be your only defining purpose. Maybe you also want to be a photographer, or you want to do other things. Maybe you want to open a business, or you want to connect with other moms, or you want to start a clothing line. There's so many things that you can connect to for your purpose. It doesn't have to be just one item. So asking yourself what your purpose is, and then what nurtures that purpose. So is that your higher power, connection with source, universe, God, your religion, your faith? And asking yourself whatever it is that you have identified that nurtures your purpose, asking yourself, how do you build that relationship through that connection? And so a lot of the times people in the spiritual community will pray, or they will meditate, or they will listen to music, or they'll sing, or they go into community environments to practice and pray with other people, or they'll connect to nature and see the beauty in nature, and that nourishes their purpose and their soul and kind of that meaning. And so with the spiritual journey, it's really finding out your purpose and what's going to nurture that purpose, along with living a life that's consistent to your beliefs and values. So you have to kind of identify what your beliefs and values are as a person. So all of that collectively, now we get to add on top of that is our culture. And so depending on your cultural upbringing, your traditions, all of that also plays a huge role into spirituality. And so often we get turned off by one branch of spirituality that we refuse to look at the other areas. And so reminding yourself that there's no cookie cutter way to connect to your spiritual side. And as we look at the core of spirituality, which is the purpose of being alive, what is your purpose? What are your beliefs? What are your values? What is your culture? What are your traditions? And then asking yourself, am I living a life that is consistent with all of those things I just laid out, that I just identified, and that I just addressed? And so spirituality can feel really scary because it's the unknown, right? So a lot of times it takes us a long time to figure out what our purpose is. You know, some people find out really young in life what their purpose is, and some people are still exploring today. That is totally fine, okay, and normal. So many times we change what our purpose is, right? So let's say you're a caregiver and you have kiddos, and then they grow up and they have their own kiddos, and now you're a grandparent, right? You have naturally shifted from being the primary caregiver of your kids, and now your kids are the primary caregivers of their own kids. And so reminding yourself that your role and your purpose is going to shift and change all the time. So for example, if we think back to even the 80s, things that were not invented, people had no idea that that could be their purpose, right? So if we look present day, a lot of people's purpose might be to be an influencer, and they're influencing people to live a life that's similar to theirs, or inspire others, or provide motivation or positivity. In the 80s, there was no social media influencers, right? They had it girls and stuff like that, but it was a totally different thing. And so your purpose might not even be invented in present day in this time. And so don't give up when you don't know what it is that you want in life. Don't give up when you don't know what your purpose is. That's where you can connect to those other areas, whether that's meditating, praying, listening to music, connecting to nature, maybe even traveling, talking to other people who does have a spiritual connection and they're able to identify what that looks like, or even looking at your culture and asking yourself, how can I dive into my culture to learn more about my purpose and my identity? So again, as I was saying, spirituality is so many layers, it's so multifaceted, so I don't want you just to hone in on one part, but today's reflective question is, what does your current spiritual self-care routine look like? Does it look like meditation, journaling, praying, tapping into your culture, dancing, listening to music, connecting to nature, right? There's so many layers, and there's so many layers that I haven't even mentioned. Again, it would take all day to mention all the ways that you can nurture your spiritual self-care. So just thinking about what your current routine looks like and how you can adapt that, modify that, or even if this is totally new to you, explore what that means. So I'd love to hear in the comments below what your current self-care for spirituality looks like. And today's inspired action is, what is one thing that you can do to nurture your spiritual self-care? So again, figuring out what your spirituality looks like. Is it religion? Is it faith? Is it higher power? Is it universe? Is it source? Is it higher self? Asking yourself, what do you connect to that helps you give meaning and purpose in life and living, and what that looks like. Again, my name's Alyssa Cotten. We did it, 1 week. All right, we are a quarter of the way done. I'm so impressed. I'm so grateful for all of you guys on this journey. It's just been so incredible, and the feedback, and I'm just so proud to be here in alignment with you guys on this journey. So tomorrow we start a whole new week, day 8. I'm so excited and I'm looking forward. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you haven't yet, get the calendar so you can kind of check off and see where you're at in this journey. It's a great time to do kind of a check-in point. Awesome. Have a great day.